organization of IMF was created to help secure financial stability, facilitate international trade, promote high employment and sustainable economic growth, and finally, reduce poverty around the world. The International Monetary Fund was created by John Maynard Keynes and Harry Dexter White. The two men were intellectual founding fathers of the IMF and the World Bank. White was the chief international economist at the U.S. Treasury. In 1944, he drafted the American plan for the IMF that competed with the British Treasury blueprint drafted by Keynes. The IMF headquarters is situated in Washington, D.C., where it was first established in 1945, having been first conceived at the Bretton Woods Conference in New Hampshire. There are a number of branches of the IMF in countries such as Spain and France. The IMF's fundamental mission is to help ensure stability in the international system. It does so in three ways: keeping track of the global economy and the economies of member countries, lending to countries with balance of payments difficulties, and giving practical help to members. The International Monetary Fund offers money lending, technical assistance, and surveillance. A member country may apply for financial assistance if it has a balance of payments, which cannot be paid off. The IMF provides loans to member countries experiencing potential balance of payment problems, furthermore helping them to effectively manage their economic policy and financial affairs. The IMF helps countries to strengthen their capacity in both human and institutional resources. The International Monetary Fund offers to design appropriate macroeconomic, financial, and structural policies. The financial aid also helps countries rebuild their international reserves, stabilizes their currencies, continues paying for imports, and restores conditions for strong economic growth. It is mandatory for the IMF to oversee the international monetary system and keep an eye on the economic and financial policies of its 187 member countries. This activity is called surveillance. As part of this process, the IMF recognizes possible risks to domestic and external stability and also advises on needed policy changes and adjustments. By doing this, it helps the IMF serve its main and necessary purpose of facilitating the exchange of goods, services, and capital among countries, thus helping economic growth. The main mission of the IMF is to provide financial aid to countries that are going through a rough phase with economic and financial difficulties. The funds come from the institution's 187 member countries. The money being used to aid the suffering countries are loans so that the less economically developed country can cover the cost of importing basic goods and different uses for the benefit of the country so that it can evolve. After the less economically developed country becomes a little more stable, the loan is paid back with an interest included. I personally believe that the International Monetary Fund has made several awful mistakes throughout the past half-century. Firstly, they hurt the poor in so many ways, as after loaning them the money to help build up their economy, they immediately asked for it back after a short period of time, causing the less economically developed countries to become more in debt. The less economically developed countries also had to pay an interest, which is a fee paid on borrowed assets. It is the price paid for the use of loaned money or money earned by deposed funds. Furthermore, the only people that would have benefited would be the International Monetary Fund. The International Monetary Fund also made many restrictions on what the less economically developed countries could and couldn't spend their money on, meaning the IMF would have total control on that country. I personally believe that the International Monetary Fund has not been very successful so far, but despite their mistakes during the past half-century, not a lot of people have been giving them credit for the many things they did very well. For example, the International Monetary Fund performs economic surveillance over most of the world's economy. This is a valuable task that no other international or private organization would be able to perform with such skill. The International Monetary Fund also serves as a store of expert knowledge and wisdom for countries throughout the world that lack in trained specialists, which is rather important. Even though the IMF has an important role in promoting prosperity and economic stability worldwide, it is no longer serving its main purpose, making it very unsuccessful.